Okay. Start, Lakshmi Bhai.
वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। शारदा शारदाम्भोज वदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात्। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनि सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम महोदय। नमस्ते।
Samichinam. Dhanyavadah.
धन्यवाद।
So, namaste once again to all. If anybody has joined just now.
Namaste Guruji, Namaste Bhagini.
Namaste. As I told in the last class, we have studied in some detail the vibhaktis, all the 6 vibhaktis and 7 vibhaktis rather, but in terms of karaka, 6 karakas. And I told you that I will give a summary of these vibhaktis, these rules, grammar rules which are there. And in fact, when I started preparing that, then I had 2 options. One is just to give a summary of what we have studied in this textbook, this Prathama Diksha. But then that textbook actually covers very little. It is not exhaustive what they have covered in terms of the, the vibhaktis, especially the non-karaka vibhaktis. It's not exhaustive. They have given some few examples rather. So I thought that, probably I should, because this opportunity we may not get again and again. So I should make my presentation as exhaustive as possible, even though I'm not very sure whether I have covered everything. But certainly a lot more things than what we have studied, I have tried to cover. With the result that it may not take just today's class, but also the next class to complete the whole thing. But the whole set of the slides, the PowerPoint slides, which after the completion of this topic, I will be circulating, through our group. It will be a very useful reference material for all of you who are seriously interested in continuing to study, to understand. Because one of the very important things what happens normally is, once we attend some course, and the course finishes, then there ends the story, rather, right? We don't actually see how we can further improve our knowledge of the language. And for that, the best method is pick up some small magazines, some, articles somewhere, and start reading them and trying to understand what the vocabulary used is, what are the grammatical things which are used, analyzing each sentence, which is the verb in this, which is the noun, in which case the noun is coming, so in what meaning the noun should come. All those things, even if you do in a week 5 sentences, that will be a very good practice for you. And that is how we have learned all our languages, isn't it? English language, how long we have learned it, rather, isn't it? And still we are learning, because we come across new words rather in the language. So if we think that Sanskrit is something that we can learn in 3 months, 6 months, or even 3 years, forget about it. That's not going to happen. To some extent, you will get familiar with the language if you practice on a daily basis, like what I said, read which is there, even textbooks, some, the school textbooks you can pick up, this middle school level or high school level, read them, understand them. That is the way to go about it if you are seriously interested in learning the language, using the language. And try to form your own sentences rather. Small sentences, grammatically correct sentences, try to form. And when you do that, is when all these grammatical rules will become very relevant, very important. So with those sort of initial remarks, because I didn't want you guys to be overwhelmed with what I'm going to present. Having said that, my previous course, the first course, Sanskrit classes, this has been presented to those students, and to the best extent I can recall, there was good appreciation for this material, because at one place you get everything there. Okay. So with those remarks, we will start. Padmaji, with your permission, I will start.
ధన్యవాదాలు Maharaj. Thank you for your advice. We will try to follow it.
Yeah, please.
Shall I share the screen? Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am sharing the screen. 1 second. Let me make it full screen. Where is this? Long time I have not used PowerPoint, but let me see. How to make it slide show. This I don't know how to remove this left side one. Yes, got it. This was hiding it. Okay. So the topic that we are going to see today is Karaka and Vibhakti. Now this new word I am introducing, Vibhakti, you are all familiar. Karaka is a word which I am introducing, which you all should know. But then what is the difference between Karaka and Vibhakti? We have studied Karaka and Vibhakti, but we have not used the term Karaka. That is the difference. So we will see what is Karaka, what is Vibhakti. So we have seen the usage of 7 Vibhaktis represented. I think there is some problem in this Sanskrit, Devanagari script. Pratama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, etc. in Ekavachan, Dvivachan, Bahuvachan. When I circulate it, I will correct this, whatever is not correctly coming rather here in this. And we also studied that Vibhaktis are used primarily to express factors involved in accomplishment of an action. That means a particular Vibhakti, for example, who is a Karta, who is what is the object of the action, what are the instruments used for doing the action, who is the recipient of the benefit of action, from where the action is emerging, all those things, different Vibhaktis we have seen. And we also saw that in addition to the factors involved in accomplishment of an action, which is represented by a verb, the action is always represented by a verb. Vibhaktis are used in other contexts also, when certain words in the language are expressed, or in some specific context, only some specific Vibhaktis have to be used. So the Vibhaktis have got what? There are two areas Vibhaktis are used. So even though they are used primarily to express the factors involved in the accomplishment of action, when they are used in that sense, they are referred to as karakas, which means related to the performance of an action. Here, the vibhaktis express the relationship between a verb and a noun in a sentence. So, whenever a vibhakti is used, which is denoting or defining a relationship between the verb and that noun, that is called a karaka. So, while talking about such vibhaktis, we can say karaka vibhakti, and those which are used, the vibhaktis which are used in a non-karaka sense. That means we have seen, saharte tritiya, hetau panchami, all that we have seen, right? So they are called non-karaka vibhaktis. Very simple definitions. Two types of vibhaktis, karaka vibhakti and non-karaka vibhakti. And this definition or this classification is only for the purpose of understanding in what sense a vibhakti is used in a sentence in the language rather. So when we come across a vibhakti, a particular noun in a particular case, in a sentence, first of all, we must look at whether that particular word is connected to the verb in the sentence. If it is not connected to the verb, then we must look for why is that particular vibhakti used? Why not some other vibhakti? Then we will find the reason that if it is the Panchami vibhakti used, then if it is not a karaka, then what context that has been used, we will find out, we'll be able to find out. And to find out that, this presentation, this material will be very useful rather. Okay. So we will first basically understand, just a revision of what we have studied, the different karakas and vibhaktis. Okay. Karaka. So the first karaka or the first vibhakti, pratama vibhakti, is what? It is called kartri karaka. And the kartri karaka is defined in the language as swatantram karta. So this denotes an independent agent of action. And the first case or pratama vibhakti is used to denote the agent of action. The second one is karma karaka. Kartri ipsitam karma.
The screen is not visible, Mahodaya. The
Not
particular
visible?
slide. The particular slide.
This one is not, you can't see?
No, the previous slide only we are seeing.
It is not moved to the next slide.
No, Mahodaya, it has not.
This one you can see?
No, Mahodaya.
No, this one you can see? One.
No change.
No, it's not moving. Yeah, no change. It is still on the same screen. You need to share it again, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can see, but the same old one.
Yeah, old one, fine. I opened it in the old one. Now you see whether you can see it now, the next one.
Yes.
Now you can
Yes,
see.
it has moved now.
A
Yes, we
karaka.
can see.
Starts from A karaka, right?
Yes, Mahodaya. Now we can see.
So I will just repeat because you didn't see the screen. So kartri karaka, it is called swatantaram karta, independent, independent agent of action, who is the subject of the entire action, right? And for expressing that, we use the first case, pratama vibhakti. So pratama vibhakti denotes the agent of action. Who is doing the action? That is pratama vibhakti. Then next is karma karaka. Kartri ipsitam karma is the definition. The object of action. What will be the object of action? Whenever somebody is doing an action, a karta is doing an action, there will be some goal that he has to do that action. There is some object that he has got. So that object of action is expressed in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Then the third one is Karna Karaka. Sorry, not Karna, Karana Karaka. Sadhakatamam Karma. Sadhakatamam means that which enables the achievement of the action, the best instrument of action. We use Tritiya Vibhakti to denote that. Then Sampradana Karaka. Karmana Kriyaya Yat Abhipraiti. For whose benefit, to whom that action is addressed to. That means the recipient of action. So that which is connected by the object of action or the action itself. What has happened? This is something has gone out of screen. 1 second. Long time I have not used it, so it is giving me trouble. Let me share the screen. See. We were in this screen, right?
Yeah, it has come to the screen now. Apadana Karaka.
Yeah, okay.
Sampradana previous screen.
We were in
Yeah,
the
the previous screen,
one.
yes.
Okay, I will use this only. Okay. Now this you can see the screen. Because one line has gone outside the screen. That is why.
Now
So,
we can see the last
Sampradana-
line.
Huh?
Now
Last
we can see the last line. Yes.
Yeah. In full screen mode, it is not seen, but I will use this mode only because that will be easier. So, Sampradana Karaka, recipient of action. So, that is that which is connected by the object of action or the action itself with the intention as the giver, right? So, the recipient of that action, Chaturthi Vibhakti, is used to denote the, it's wrong, Chaturthi Vibhakti denote the recipient, okay, to whom it is done. It is wrongly typed. Then Apadana Karaka. Dhruvam apaye apadanam is the definition. Point of origination of action. So, in the context of moving away from that which is constant, Panchami Vibhakti is used to denote that from which something is moving away. Then, this Adhikarana Karaka we have seen. Location of action. It is defined as Adhare Adhikaranam, that which supports the action. Saptami Vibhakti is used to denote the locus of action. So, Pratama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami and Saptami, they are all used to express the relationship between a verb and a noun. Then sixth case, what happens? It said Sheshe Shashti. We have seen that. When the relationship cannot be expressed in any other way, then the sixth case is used. That is the relationship between a noun and a noun. If we have to express that, then we use the sixth case. Okay. So based on how a thing or a person represented by a given action, the status of one of the karakas can be given to it. Now there is a sentence. Let us understand these karakas with this sentence. Ramasya putraha lavaha swahastena syutat nirdhanebhyah grame dhanam dadati. You understand all these words? Can anybody translate this? Translation is given down, but don't read that. They're all in the class, you know.
Yes,
Guruji.
Mahodaya.
Yes, Guruji.
Ramasya putra lavaha. Rama's son lava swahastena with his own hands. Swahastam. Swahastena. Sutat.
Syutat.
Sutat. Sutat. I'm not able to make out. I'm just going by what is given
Syutam
there.
means a bag, right?
Bag. Okay.
Syutat is
Okay.
which case?
The case from the bag.
From the bag, correct.
From the bag. Nirdhanebhya. Nirdhana, people who don't have money, poor
Yeah.
people.
Poor people.
Grame, of the village, poor people of the village. Dhanam dadati. Dhanam, money.
Grame,
Dadati,
grame
giving.
is the seventh case, correct?
Yes, Guruji, seventh case.
So people
To the
Saptami.
poor people.
in
To
the
the poor
village.
people
Huh?
in the village.
In
Or
the
of the
village.
village. Of the village.
Or
Mahodaya, you can say of the village
or
also.
people at the village.
At the
Of
village.
the village
Okay.
will come, sixth case will come, you know, off. Off or for, if you translate, because in English we are very loose about all these expression, correct? So here, because seventh case is used, we have to translate it as in the village or at the village because it is the locus where it is happening. Understand that?
To the poor people in the village.
For people in the village, then what is dhanam?
Money
Money, dadati, gives.
to give
Right?
or giving. Yeah.
So in this sentence, what is the verb?
Dadati.
Dadati.
Dadati, which means gives. And all other words are nouns, right? Ramasya, putra, lava, swahastena, styutat, nirdhanebhya, grame, dhanam, dadat. All these
Dhanam.
up to dhanam are all nouns, correct? Am I right?
Yes.
If I am
Yes,
wrong,
Guruji.
Yes. Guruji.
yeah. Okay. Now let us see what is the relationship of the verb with each of these sentences. Okay. First question we ask, kaha dadati? Who is the person who is giving?
Lava.
Navaha.
Lavaha.
Navaha
So
dadati.
lavaha comes in first case. He is the
First
karta.
case.
Correct. Pratama vibhakti. Kim dadati? What is he giving?
Dhanam dadati.
Dhanam dadati.
Nirdanebhyaha. Dhanam.
So object of giving dadati is dhanam, money. Correct. So that is karma of this sentence. So that's the object. So it comes in dvitiya vibhakti. Kena dadati? By what? With what is giving?
Swahastena. Swahastena.
His own hands. That's the instrument he is using. So that is the third case, karana, instrument case, tritiya vibhakti we use. Okay. Kebhyaha dadati, to whom he is giving?
Nirdhanebhyaha.
Dhanebhyaha, to the poor people. That is sampradana karaka, chaturthi vibhakti is used. Then kasmat dadati, from where he is?
Syutat.
Syutat, from the bag. Correct. Apadana karaka, this is the origin of the action. Panchami vibhakti is used. Then kutra dadati, where is
Grame.
Grame.
In the village.
Adhikarana, that is the locus. So saptami vibhakti we use. Right? So in this sentence, as we saw, we have used all the 6 karakas rather. Right? Now what happens to if we go back to the sentence, what happens to the sixth case?
Ramasya.
Sixth case is right in the beginning, Ramasya. But Ramasya is not connected to dadati, correct?
Connected to putra.
Putra. So Ramaha is also a noun, putra hai is also a noun.
Noun.
When these two nouns are connected to each other, we use the sixth case. That is why Ramasya is there. Understand?
Yes,
Is
Guruji.
it
Yes.
all these
Yes,
seven
Guruji.
vibhaktis will be very, very nicely explained in this one sentence, right? So this is a very important, aspect so far as karakas are concerned. Karaka means that which is connected to the action. Okay. So what are the basic concepts of karakam, factors of action? To sum up, with reference to an action, there are many factors which are directly related to the action. Sage Panini, I hope you all know who is Panini, right? Every day we chant the prayers. Panini was the one who actually developed a very beautiful, wonderful, profound grammar for Sanskrit language. Okay. And he has given this name Karakas to all these vibhaktis. Kartrakaraka, Karmakaraka, Karanakaraka, etc. And as we have seen, sixth case defines the relationship between nouns and not the action. And therefore, sixth case is not a karakam. 6 karakas and sheshe shashti, whatever is remaining is sixth case. That's what it says. Okay. So that is so far as karakas are concerned. Then things other than karaka, non-karakas. When a vibhakti is conveying things other than a karaka, it is called a non-karaka vibhakti in our language. Actually, in technical language, it is called upapada vibhakti. So, if we have to understand from a Sanskrit technically, the vibhaktis are divided into two. Karaka vibhakti and upapada vibhakti. This you must remember. So whenever a vibhakti is used for a noun, which is not in the karaka sense, then we must understand first that it is upapada vibhakti. And secondly, we must search for the reason why that particular vibhakti is used in the sentence. What is the connection? Is there any word which when used, one has to use a particular vibhakti only as per the grammar rules rather, right? So the purpose of this upapada vibhakti is merely to denote another word in the sentence to justify the presence of a particular word. So a particular vibhakti form for a word is chosen based on the word intent. We have seen some examples during the lessons that we have gone through. Examples are, I think, first one is paratiya. No. What was the vina parita hai? Prati vina parita hai. Right. Some of the specific cases.
Parati vina parita.
No, it is not parati, it is prati.
Prati.
Prati vina
Upasarga.
parita. Yeah. And in some cases, more than one vibhakti also can be used. That was not highlighted during our learning. But since this is a very exhaustive presentation I am making, you must note that there are some cases where you have got an option to use 2-3 vibhaktis separately, otherwise also. It is not that one particular vibhakti only has to be used. There are options available in the language. Okay. So the general rules governing such non-karaka usage of vibhaktis, I am summarizing to begin with. So in addition to the 6 vibhaktis, one more vibhakti is used in the language which is called Sambodhana, that we have not touched upon. Sambodhana is basically an address. It is used to gain the attention of someone. It is addressed to a person to get the attention of the listener. And Sambodhana is always in the first case. We have seen Sambodhana examples. But whereas if, for example, Rama is there, first case, But Sambodhana will be Rama. That Visarga will be dropped. That's all. Sambodhana always takes the first case. So it is also called Sambodhana Pratama. Sambodhana Pratama is also a non-karaka vibhakti. So if we take, because some authors or some people say there are 8 vibhaktis, not 7 vibhaktis. So if we take it as 8 vibhakti, Sambodhana is also one separate vibhakti, then we can say that there are six karakas and 2 non-karaka vibhaktis amongst the original list. Otherwise, we can say there are 6 vibhaktis and one non-karaka, not in the Upapada sense, but in the Karaka sense only, but it's a non-Karaka vibhakti, 6th case. And also Sambodhana vibhakti is there, which is the Sambodhana Pratama. One thing we must remember, all along, I think we have seen only active voice. The language is so vast. We have not covered passive voice. We have not Karmani Prayoga, Bhave Prayoga. We have not covered. There's so many more things to learn. What we have learned till now is just the tip of the iceberg. So only what we call Kartari Prayoga, active voice only we have learned. And when it comes to passive voice, Karmani Prayoga and all, some of these rules relating to Karta, Karma, Karana, they are applied differently. I will explain all of them here today, but you may not, even if you don't understand them, because you have no context to understand them, don't worry. When we will learn Karmani Prayoga, Bhave Prayoga and all that later on, then this will be a once for all a reference material for you, so that you can refer back to these vibhaktis, this vibhakti presentation, and then it will be very useful for you to understand the Karmani Prayoga, etc. Why certain things. In fact, it's not a very difficult thing, because in English also, when we convert some sentence from active voice to passive voice, there are certain changes which take place in the construction of the sentence, right? Same changes happen in Sanskrit also. So whenever we are learning Karmani Prayoga, that is a passive voice, all that we have to remember is look for what is the active voice construction of the sentence, what is the passive voice construction of the sentence. Then we will be able to make out why different vibhaktis are used between active voice and passive voice. Okay, now Karmani Prayoga. I'll just give a brief introduction to Karmani Prayoga. In Karmani Prayoga, the passive voice, that is the object of the verb, is denoted in Prathama Vibhakti, and the subject, that is the Karta, is denoted in the Tritiya Vibhakti. For example, in active voice, there is a sentence, Ramaha Gajan Drishyati. Rama sees the elephants. Very simple sentence, right? Now, if I have to convert this into passive voice, how will I convert? Can anybody convert this into passive voice?
Elephant's name is Rama.
Elephant's name is Rama.
So
Rama
is there Rama
sees
is
the
elephant.
elephants, convert it into passive voice.
The elephant is seen by Rama.
Elephants are seen by Rama.
Seen
Correct?
by Rama.
Elephants are
Gajaha
seen by Rama.
are seen by Rama.
So here, which is this elephants become the Karta, correct? They are the what you can say, the main subject matter, right? And
Correct.
seen by Rama. By Rama means in which case it will come?
Tritiya.
Third case.
Tritiya,
Tritiya.
correct? So this sentence, Ramah Gajan Drishyati, when converted into passive voice, will become Ramena Gajaha Drishyante. Why Drishyante? Because Drishyante is going
Gajaha.
Gajaha. Okay, plural. So Ramena Gajaha Drishyante, the elephants are seen by Rama. So now what has happened? In the active voice, Rama was in first case, Gajan was in second case, whereas in passive voice, Rama has become third case and Gajan has become first case. Gajaha, Gaje, Gajaha. This is the change. In English also the same change takes place, as I told you. But in English, the words, we don't have all this vibhakti business and all that. So it is very simple. Whereas in Sanskrit, when we are converting into passive voice, we have to exercise caution so that we don't, and we understand also when we read a sentence, it is in active voice or in passive voice. We understand that. Okay. So Ramaha is changed to Ramena, Tritiya Vibhakti, Gajan is changed to Gajaha, Prathama Vibhakti. That is the, so far as Karmani Prayoga, very brief introduction I wanted to give. We will see Karmani Prayoga and all in detail later on. Okay. Then the Dvitiya Vibhakti is used in a number of contexts in non-karaka sense as follows. The verbs, there are a lot of rules. I think we didn't cover this. The textbook we saw was a very preliminary textbook. It didn't cover everything which is there in the rules. So the verbs tishtati and vasati, when prefixed with preposition or upasarga, adhi or upa, adhi tishtati, adhi vasati, upatishtati, upavasati, if these expressions come in a sentence, we will read about upasargas also later. Okay. Then Dvitiya Vibhakti is used. Vyagri Vanam Aditishtati. Aditishtati means lives or stays. Vanam, Vyagri Vanam Aditishtati. So Vanam is in the second case. There is a lot of mistake in there because I did copy paste and I think this font problem is there. I will take a lot of, I'll have to go back to the file and change them. But anyhow, when I circulate it, it will be clear. You just listen to it. Okay. So Vanam, whenever Aditishtati and Adhivasati comes, normally if only Vasati was used, there is no Upasarga, correct? What would have been the sentence?
Seventh case, Vane.
Vane Tishtati, Vane Vasati, right? Vyagri, Vane Vasati would have been the case. But because this Adhi is used, we have to use the second case. Vanam Adhitishtati, Vanam Adhivasati. The tigress lives or stays in the forest. So this is the first rule we have to remember. When Tishtati and Vasati come with a Upasarga, we have to use the second case. Then next example, Parvati Kailasagirim Adhivasati. Kailasagirim, second case. Otherwise, English translation, Parvati lives in the Himalayas. What would have been the seventh case for Kailasagiri?
Kailasagiri.
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 Gire, right?
Kailasagiri.
But here second case is used. So whenever Tishtati and Vasati come with Upasarga, Adhi or Upa, we have to remember seventh case should not be used, second case should be used. This is one first rule. Okay. I know this is all going to totally confuse you guys, but doesn't matter. Without confusion, we will never get clarification. If everything is easy, then everybody would have been learning Sanskrit, would have learned Sanskrit, and would have been a master, scholars in Sanskrit. It is not a very easy language, highly technical, highly scientific language. So one requires a lot of memory power for this, for learning language, retaining what is learned, recalling what is retained. All that one needs to tax one's brain a lot. It is just like mathematics. I always compare Sanskrit with mathematics. Mathematics is also not an easy subject, rather. Requires a lot of imagination. Similarly, Sanskrit also requires a lot of imagination. Okay. Now we'll go ahead. Further. Okay, though the same thing I'm explaining. So, where does the tiger live? It should have been seventh case, as we have already seen. So, when it comes with the vasati or tishtati comes with adi, dutiya vibhakti is used. So that is a repetition of what already we have seen. Now, use of indeclinables. Now, what are indeclinables? Abhyayas. That also we'll see later. Because indeclinables, they don't undergo any change. Right? That's why they're indeclinable. They can't be declined as pratama, dvitiya, and all that. So there are certain indeclinables, abhyayas, abhitaha, ubhayataha, samaya, nikasha, antara, paritaha, etc. to represent location. For example, Himalayam abhitaha aranyani santi. Around the Himalaya, abhitaha means around. Around the Himalayas, there are forests. Right? Nadim ubhayataha sopanani santi. On both sides of the rivers, there are steps. Vidyalayam samaya apanaha santi. In the school neighborhood, there are shops. Vidyalayam nikasha udhyanam asti. Near the school, there is a garden. Sarovaram antara nilotpalani santi. Inside the pond, there are blue lotuses. Griham paritaha. Prachiram asti. Around the house, there is a wall. Prachiram means a wall. Okay. So in all these cases, whenever this abhitaha, ubhayataha, samaya, nikasha, antara, prachira, or paritaha, etc. come, we use the second case. Himalayam, Nadim, Vidyalayam, again Vidyalayam, Sarovaram, Griham. So in all these cases, second case is used. So if you go back and ask the question, where are the forests? Right? When you ask the question, where are the forests, the answer should be in which case?
Seventh.
Himalayam abhitaha.
Abhita
Where are
is
the
suppose Aranyani kutra asti or kutra santi. Suppose I say
Seventh case.
Himalaya.
Himalaya, correct?
Yes, Guruji. Seventh
So
case.
if we are not using abhita, the forests are in Himalayas, are located in Himalayas. That is the sentence. Then we will use the seventh case.
Seventh
Correct?
case.
But if we have to say the forests, there are forests around the Himalayas.
Around.
Abhitaha aranyani santi. If we say, then we have to Himalaya will become Himalayam.
Second case.
Understand? Ubhayataha on both sides. Neighborhood samaya. Nikasha near. Antara inside. Paritaha around. Whenever these are qualified like this, they have to use the second case, not the seventh case. So this is example number 2.
Guruji, is it Samaya or Samipya? Samaya doesn't Samaya refer to time, Guruji?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Samaya refers to what?
Sorry, the Samaya, Pata Vidyalayam Samaya, Apanaha Santi. Samaya, I thought Samaya refers to time.
No. See, don't go by. Samaya is time, right? Samaya is in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
Yeah. Samipyam, what you asked was near.
Right.
Here is not, it is the neighborhood. Samaya is neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
Okay.
Dhanyawad.
Yeah.
Yes, Dhanyawad. Okay.
So here all in Dvitiya Vibhakti is used instead of the Saptami Vibhakti. Then use of indeclinables like vina, without, prati, towards, anu, in keeping with or following, antarena, without, all these use second case. Gurum vina vidya nasti. Without teacher, there is no knowledge, right? Now, normally, who is the subject here? I mean, even though it's a not a direct sentence, indirect sentence, the word gurum, the vina is denoting the word guru, right? We should not say guruhu vina vidya nasti. That will not be correct. Because vina is used, so it should be in second case guru. Second example, moksham prati icha bhavati. So because moksham is the second case, otherwise moksha prati icha bhavati, we could have said. Moksha is akaranta shabda.
Guruji, Guruji, slide is not showing, Guruji.
Not showing again.
No,
No, we
Guruji.
can see, Guruji. We
Yeah,
can
we
see.
can see. We can see.
See,
Guruji.
Guruji.
It's on the
You can
same
see.
slide, Gurum Vina Vidya Nasti, same slide it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same only.
same only, no?
Ditiya Vibhakti, it says in the heading. We can see.
Yeah. So second
We
is
see.
moksham prati, second sentence. Moksham prati icha bhavati. There is a desire towards liberation. So moksham comes in second case. Then upadesham anu saha vedan bodhati. Upadesham anu, in keeping with the teaching. Right? Anu means in keeping with. Saha vedan bodhati. He understands the Vedas. So upadesham, second case. Then putram antarena devadatta na tushyati. Antarena, without. Putram antarena, without son. Devadatta is not happy. Devadatta na tushyati. So in all these cases, when we are using the words like indeclinables like vina, prati, anu and antarena, second case should be used. Second case should be used for the noun which is denoting all these indeclinables. Okay. Then, when a word represents kala, time or desha, space, then it takes the dvitiya vibhakti. Desham sarvatah vrisha bhavanti.
Mahavya, it is Varsha Bhavanti.
Sorry, Varsha, it should be correct. I am also saying
Yes, Varsha Bhavanti.
because this what has happened is conjunct consonants have got split in this, right?
Yes.
So it becomes little difficult to which is when the half rakara refa is there, which is coming before or after becomes Varsha Bhavati.
Correct. I could say because I have the notes of the previous class when we attended. So I was sticking with the notes.
Right, that's good. So if I commit a
It's like
mistake,
a revision now.
please correct me.
Yes. Sure, Bhavya.
Desham sarvatah Varsha Bhavanti. Correct. It is raining everywhere in the country. So sarvatah is there because it is denoting space everywhere. Correct? So we have to use second case. Then Madhuhu Masam Vyakaranam Patitavan. Madhu read grammar for a month. Right? So Masam, what is there? Yeah, time is there. Because it is time, so you have to use second case. For a month. For a month, otherwise what it will come? Masam.
Third vibhakti.
Huh? Which vibhakti will come for a month?
Tritiya. Eke nama.
Third, no?
Third vibhakti, Guruji.
Chaturthi.
Okay. More answers. I give more. For a month.
Chaturthi.
For. So
Will be
Chaturthi.
not, will be two, no?
For a month.
Okay. No, but month is not a recipient here, right? If the month was not there, instead of somebody's name is there, Madhu read grammar for, let us say, her sister, or to Sita, let us say. Then fourth case will come. Okay, recipient of the reading is Sita.
Madhu tasya bhaginiya patam paditavan.
That is Patitavan, you are going somewhere else. We are sticking only to now verbs, I mean the nouns rather. What I call vibhaktis. Okay.
Masa paryantam.
Masa paryantam. Right? What is that masa there? Which case? Masa paryantam.
Masa will be in the Prathama.
Prathama. Okay, let us forget it. I don't want to confuse you. You will get more confused if I go on like this questioning. Basic thing is, when a time or a space is referred to in a sentence, then whatever is denoting the time or space comes in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Right?
Guruji, can we have another example to understand better? Is it possible?
These are all, I mean, what
No,
is
for the-
is it time?
Yes, Guruji.
The time is coming in second case, that's all.
Second, masam.
That's all. Then nothing. Desham is what? First sentence. Space
Place.
comes in second case.
Space.
Second comes in second case. Here you should not ask looking for what is the connection with this. Is it an object of connected with the verb, so it should come in second case? That rule doesn't apply here because it's non-karaka. Understand?
Okay, Guruji.
Suppose, let us say, Desham Sarvatah Varsha Bhavanti. Okay. It's a sentence.
Yes, Guruji.
Now,
Yes, Guruji.
suppose Desham is in the second case. Correct?
It is.
Now,
Yes, it is in
if
second.
you are taking Desham as a Karaka, it should be object of Bhavanti.
Yes.
But in this case, is Desham the object of Bhavanti?
No.
No. But it is coming in second case. Correct? So you
Yes.
must be careful when you see a sentence and you don't see a connection between that second case and the verb, then you should look for why the second case is used.
Okay.
Then you will know, okay, there is a rule that whenever there is a desha or kala is referred to in a sentence, the desha, whatever is indicating the desha or kala should come in second case. There is a rule. Then you
Okay.
understand desham is correctly used.
So that's the clue. Okay.
That is
Okay.
the clue. So whenever you read a sentence in Sanskrit, because in English it has become sort of a second nature for us, right? Because we have
Yes.
exposed it so much.
Hmm.
Whereas Sanskrit is new for us. So whenever we read a sentence, that's why I said in the beginning, 5 sentences each week. Take up those sentences, analyze them yourself, see what are all the, even let it be long sentences, doesn't matter. So long as you are able to identify first which is the verb. First thing you have to identify is what is the verb in this sentence. Once you catch hold of the verb, then you can understand the connection of all other nouns to that verb and whether the vibhaktis have been used correctly or not. That is the first stage where purely karakas usage will be there. But then there will be some nouns which will appear in, for example, in second Dvitiya Vibhakti, but you will not be able to make the connection between that word and the this verb. Then you look for why it is second case is used. Then you will probably find that there is something like kala, desha, or earlier which we have used, vina and all that. Something, some upasarga is coming or some reference to time or space is coming, and that is why this second case is used. So that rule then becomes very embedded in your mind. So whenever you see a sentence, okay, this is why the second case is used. And whenever you are forming a sentence yourself, that rule is okay, I am going to refer to a particular time or a particular day, so I should be careful to use the second case. That will become more important at that stage when you are yourself writing something. Another unfortunate thing for us is that we don't have any test, no examination. Whereas when you study Sanskrit in school, college and all that, all this will be put to test. You will be given a wrong sentence and asked you to correct it. That time you will have to remember all these rules. Because we don't have this problem of examination, test and all that, many times we just neglect it. We don't remember these rules. You ask Padma Bhagini how much she would have studied and remembered for taking her MA examination. It is that system works because then only we will read, remember and recollect. Otherwise, it becomes just like that, seeing some slides and okay, fine. It is like this. It is 6 months down the line. If I ask you, the chances are very low that everybody will remember. Some people may remember, but some may not. Anyhow, so that was the third example. Madhu Masam Vyakaranam Patitavan. What is the third example, Lakshmi Bhagini? Girihi
Dviyojanam vartate.
Dviyojanam vartate. Yojanam means it's a measure of distance. Yojanam, 1 yojanam and all that. So Girihi Dviyojanam vartate means mountain spreads 2 yojanas. Like they call mile, kilometer and all that. Yojana is a distance measure in the language, rather, in Sanskrit language. Or in our tradition itself, rather. Kilometer and all is all given by foreigners to us. So here also Dviyojanam will come in. It is referring to a distance, right? Space. So it will come in second case. Then the next rule is use of Kriya Visheshana, adverbs, expressing the characteristics or attribute of the verb in a sentence. Example are Balika Maduram Gayati. The girl is singing beautifully, right? So here Balika Gayati. It's a simple sentence. The girl is singing. How is she singing? When it comes, use an adverb. Maduram Gayati. Maduram is adverb to Gayati. Beautifully singing. So that Madhuram will come in second case. Then Balaha Saschcharyam Pashyati. Saschcharyam, with surprise. Okay, again, with surprise is an adverb for Pashyati. So Balaha Saschcharyam Pashyati means the boy is looking with surprise. So Saschcharyam, which is an adverb, comes in the second case. Okay, I think it's already 8 o'clock. I will stop here and we'll continue in the next class. We have done 17 slides. I hope I finish in the next class. Because it's the whole problem, where it's very difficult to decide where you want to stop and not give the full thing to students. So sometimes you become greedy. Okay, let me feed the students with full. Let it be there with them, stay with them, let them just become familiar with these things. So that if there is an opportunity, they will know where to look for what, right? If you look at the textbook, you will not find all these things at all. A few examples they have given, but that's not exhaustive. Okay. So I will myself.
Thank you very much. It is really very useful. That way, I think after going through all the examples and all, if you see this, it will be, I think it will be very useful, and I'm sure you will not forget it.
Yeah, and see, you may not remember everything, rather, because humanly impossible to remember everything. But what is most important is, if you don't know something, you must know where to look for it. And this will be very handy. You can just print out and keep it on place. All about vibhaktis. Yes. That's all. So you will know, okay, this is coming, this is there, this is there. So you know it very clearly. Okay. I'll say the prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnatya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. I will send these slides after the whole thing is completed. Okay. Hopefully on Tuesday. If not, it may go through a little bit on Friday also. Doesn't matter, but I feel from a student point of view, learning point of view, it's very important. Okay. Hari Om. Thank you all very much.
Hari Om Guruji. Dhanyawada. Dhanyawada Bhagini.
Dhanyawada Mahodaya. Thank you.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದः ಗುರುಜಿ ಧನ್ಯವಾದः ಭಗಿನಿ
Dhanyawada.
Dhanyawada. Bye.